Hey, what's up everybody? This is Damron playing Splinter Cell Blacklist. Kind of an older game, but really awesome if you guys haven't played. This is a complete collectibles guide. We're going to get all the dead drops, laptops, and the high value targets in one playthrough chronologically. So let's get started with the first mission that has collectibles, actually the second mission in the game if you consider the prologue a mission. But really the first mission with collectibles, Safehouse. As you progress, this is shortly after you get your suit. You'll have to come through this hallway here, and this dead drop will be right on this cabinet. This is part of the linear path you have to take. Shortly after that, the game is going to introduce you to high value targets, and high value targets are enemies that are going to display a capture above their head. And with these guys, you can't kill them. You need to take them down non-lethally, and then once you have them in your grasp, you'll press X again to bag and tag them. Now you must get to a next checkpoint for that to consider to be collected. If you die before you get to another checkpoint, you will need to recapture, rebag, and tag that HVT. Moving on to the laptop, this is later in the mission when you're getting close to rescuing Kobin. Before you turn left to go down that hall, continue on, and you'll find this laptop on the back right room of the upper level of the police station.
Charlie, found a laptop with possible intel.
Looks like I've got access to the local malicious financials. Whoops.
Alright, so we're moving on to the next mission, Insurgent Stronghold. I do want to mention that on the Paladin you can buy upgrades that will help you locate laptops and dead drops. Alright, so moving on to this mission, this is right after you're going to use the tri-rotor to spy on some enemies in this room. I've cleared out this room, but you'll know what I'm talking about. So go into on the bottom floor across the other side through that double door, and you'll find this laptop right on a desk here. Progressing a little bit further, you're going to get to this area in the map where you need to go into that tunnel. You can see the dead drop is in this tent here on my right. You can actually go into the back of the tent. You can cut that fabric and come into the back, but nonetheless the dead drop's right in that tent. Going on a little bit further, this is actually after you go through the cave system. You're going to come to this little town here. Now this guy can actually be roaming around, okay, so just look for the capture sign. It may not be exactly where I'm at, and that's going to be the case for a lot of the HVTs. They're not as static as the laptops and the dead drops, so keep that in mind as you see the high value targets throughout the game. They could be kind of anywhere. Alright, moving on to the next mission is going to be American Consumption. And our first high value target is actually going to be after you drop down into the sewer system after the hostage part of the level. This guy's going to be hanging out to the right when you go down to the sewers. Just jump over the wall to your right, take him out, bag and tag him, and let's get moving on.
By Sadiq and Mirawa.
Alright, the next dead drop, you're going to get to this right really shortly after that sewer, and you have those spiral staircases that go up. Before you go up, look to the left and you're going to see these pipes that you can climb, and those pipes will allow you to shimmy out onto the ledge here to grab this dead drop. Moving on, actually right outside of that area, you're going to be coming up to this area here. You're going to see the Chicago purification plant. You're going to need to go inside there through this big glass door. You can't really miss it, but the laptop's going to be on the desk right here. Keep in mind that if you alert enemies before you hack the laptop will be corrupted and you won't be able to collect it. So when we're going on from here, remember that as we're collecting laptops, you need to be stealthy. Moving on to the private estate, the next main mission in the game. Right in the very beginning of the game, you're going to drop down and there's going to be a garage door to your right. Go through that door. You can take out the two enemies here however you like. This is really right immediately in the beginning of the level. Just turn right, go into this door, and hack this laptop on the wall. progressing on a little bit, this is actually after you have taken out the power in the compound, and a lot of enemies are then going to come to the area you are, one of which will be the high value target. He tends to be across the little pond of where you're at once you take out the power, and when you're playing the mission you'll know what I'm talking about. So you're gonna have to work your way over to him to capture him. Once you get inside the estate, that's the breach point, just so you have a point of reference. Come from the breach point out, turn right, and then look down the next hallway to the right. Go down that hallway, and then the first door on your left is going to be the dead drop.
Vamos ahora, cambio.
Moving on to the next mission, the abandoned mill. You're gonna get to this room here. This is a pretty, characteristic room. It has this kind of second floor that's gone. When you come in here, go to the opposite side of the room, jump out of the window, and you're gonna see a pipe. Take that pipe up to the second floor, go through the window, and collect your dead drop. Alright, moving on a little bit further, this room, characteristically you're going to see that barrel that's on fire up there. You can't miss it, really. You'll come to this room. It's kind of a difficult room, really. But when you get here, go left and up the left hallway. Generally, there's going to be a guy walking down this hallway right at you. Take him out however you please. Go up the hallway just a little bit further and open this door on your right. When you go into this room, there's going to be a hole on the floor that is just above the laptop. So you want to collect this before you really get started in this room, because there's a lot of enemies, and again, if you get spotted you won't be able to collect this. So take that guy out, drop down, and hack that laptop. Also, I will timestamp all the levels specifically in the comments, just in case there's a specific level that you're looking for. Shortly after that area that we were just in, you're going to come to this area with these catwalks. You're going to be a little drugged at this point, but the high value target is always going to be standing right in front of that barrel that's on fire. Pull him to the left because there's an enemy down the hall that can spot you while you're trying to capture him. On to the next mission, Special Missions HQ. You're going to come eventually. This is kind of later in the mission, actually. You're going to play quite a while before you get to this point, but you're going to get to this point where it's a pretty characteristic room. You'll know when you're here, but you have to hack a center console. Before you do that, go to the opposite side of the room that you spawn into, this little office, and the dead drop's going to be right here on the desk. If I can collect it. Alright, moving on, you're going to be in this room. You see this kind of like American flag in that lit up room. You're gonna walk, you have to go this way. You have to come into this darker room that's on the other side of the wall. I'm speeding it up here because I actually had to wait. A helmeted guy came by and I had to wait for him to actually enter this little room here that you're seeing on my right. So you see how it says laptop though? That is that paladin upgrade that I'm telling you about. If you have that paladin upgrade, it's going to really help you find these things much easier. But once you get into this little computer desk here, you're going to see the laptop on the left. So let's go ahead and hack that. Alright, at the end of the mission, you're going to come into this open area with this large fountain. The high value target guy is always going to be on the right over here. So keep that in mind. Just go over there and capture him. Now I have brightened up this gameplay just so you guys can see everything a little bit easier. That was one of the reasons I actually made this guide, actually, because when I was playing through it, I saw some other people's guides and it was just so dark you could hardly tell where they were. So I have actually adjusted the video settings to make it a little bit brighter to help you guys out. So on to transit yards, the next mission in the game. Right in the very beginning, when you jump off the wall, just go, you can either go under or around the backside of that semi, it doesn't matter. Go up this pipe and all the way down this wooden walkway for the dead drop in this level. Alright, once you get control of Sam again, because you will play as Briggs for a minute, you'll enter a train yard. And once you get on the other side of the train yard, there'll be this little sniper guard tower. On the left side, there's a pipe you can climb. Climb up that and get in there and capture him.
Let's go see the Liberty.
Immediately from that last high value target, you're going to enter the next train yard, and it's kind of the same thing, identical. Go to the opposite side of the train yard from where you spawned, and there's going to be a guard tower with a pipe on it. Again, it's all the way on the other side of the map from where you spawned, or where you entered the train yard, I should say. So climb up in there, take that guard out so he doesn't spot you, because again, that will disable the laptop. Once you take him out, let's hack that. Alright, moving on to the detention facility. There is no HVT and there is no laptop on this level, only a dead drop. And shortly, you're going to have a lot of cutscenes in this, and this is going to be kind of the first open area that you're in and the first sniper tower that you see. So once you see that, you're going to want to climb up. I'm not really sure why I ran around, to the left or the right. If you actually just turn left initially from that pipe, you can get here as well. So once you get on this, just shimmy down the pipe and you can actually see the dead drop over there. So let's get over there and grab that. Now the airstrip level will start immediately after the detention facility. You don't actually enter it, it's automatic, and you will be attacked by several waves of enemies as you're trying to take off, and one of those waves will have a high value target for you to capture. So after that is going to be LNG Terminal. And the first laptop, this is kind of difficult. It's really the first big area that you're going to come into with multiple enemies. But there is a lot of enemies in this area, and the enemy that is right beside the laptop is a remote control guy with a helmet, so keep that in mind. But after you progress and take your time getting here, because like I said, there are quite a bit of enemies, but once you take him out, you'll be able to hack that. Alright, moving on from that laptop into the next section where you have to rescue some, workers. You're going to be in this area. You actually have to take out all the enemies in this area, and one of those enemies is going to be a high value target. He tends to be where I'm at right now, but I have seen him kind of walk around, so keep that in mind because the enemies in this area will be walking around. Alright, the dead drop in this level, after you rescue the workers, you're going to come to this area, and this is the right where you come in, and if you advance a little bit and actually turn around, you'll see the dead drop, on the other side, like where your back was initially when you came in. So you need to backtrack a little bit, climb up that pipe, climb onto this catwalk, and go back, jump over it, and then shimmy along the wall here to get that dead drop. Alright, moving on to the final mission of the actual single player campaign, Site F. The laptop is going to be in this room. You have to come in here. It's in the very beginning of the game. You'll come to this building where you have to shut off the fan so you can insert the facility. In that same room is the laptop for you to hack. Moving on, this is actually quite a bit further in the level. You're going to be going down all of these, basically these steel, walkways as you're climbing down to this room with tons of enemies below you. This is a big room that you're going to be scaling down. As you do that, you're going to scale around and down to grab that dead drop that's sitting on the wall there. Moving on, you're going to have objectives A, B, and C later in the mission. And at objective A is a press conference room, and the high value target tends to be in there. Now, I have seen him be in other places, but just keep in mind when you get to the portion of the level that has an A, B, and C objective, that's where your high value target's going to be. So be sure you find him, bag and tag him. So now we're on to the fourth echelon missions, and you can do these co-op or single player. One of them is only co-op, and that's Briggs. But we'll start with Grimm's mission, and we'll start with Hawkins Seafort. In this mission, just at Objective A, if you turn around from Objective A, you'll see that British flag on the wall there. This is actually a co-op route, but there's also a little vent here. If you climb through that, it's very, very dark in here, but if you just kind of, shimmy around and look for areas that you can climb up with A, eventually you'll be able to climb up to that dead drop up there. Now, with the co-op missions, personally, I just did them all single player except for Briggs. They're not too bad, but just keep in mind when we get to the Briggs missions, you can only do those co-op, and I'll mention that again when we get there. So we got that dread drop. From that location, you're going to go to the middle area where this airplane is. Below that walkway and into this room back here, you'll see this table. And behind that table is a door. If you go through that door, you're going to come to a bedroom with a bunch of lasers in it. And these lasers are actually really easily avoidable. Behind this desk is our laptop. Not sure why I flipped that light off. Like, don't look at me. There's no one in here.
Tell Charlie I got another treat for him.
Now, the high value target on this mission is actually the sniper that is located at the objective C location. There is a lot of enemies below this tower, so keep that in mind. Take your time getting up here and get him captured for another high value target off the board.
We just got value.
Alright, moving on to Border Crossing, again one of Grimm's fourth echelon missions. We're on to the halfway point of our dead drop. From Objective A, right in the beginning of the level, right where Objective A is, you're going to see a hole in the ceiling. Climb up that and into this kind of attic-like space, and the dead drop will be up here.
Got a present for you, Grimm. Some intel.
Moving on for our 11th laptop, you're going to progress all the way to part C, and you're going to come into this room here, and you can see the laptop with those lasers. You can't actually get to it. You're going to have to come out of the room, jump over that in between the two metal detectors, and then turn left. Open this window, go back to the next window down in the alley, and now you'll actually be able to access the laptop. Avoid the laser. Almost got me there. And you'll be able to access the laptop in this room via that path.
Just found a bonus, Grimm.
So moving on, this is a path you have to take. You'll zip line to this area with rocks in it, and the high value target will always be this guy. You really can't miss it. All you have to do is make sure you don't kill him. Just capture, bag and tag, and then you got another HVT. Alright, moving on to Hacker's Den, another of Grimm's fourth echelon missions. This is a pretty cool mission. You're going to come to this room over here, which is near Objective A, and if you go to the ground floor, there's always going to be a guy down here. Feel free to take him out. You don't actually have to come down here, but you obviously want to if you're getting all the collectibles, right? So come down here onto this ground floor in this room, and you'll see this kind of opening in the wall. If you go down here, there'll be a little chair, but there's an electrical box on the wall here. Shoot that, and that'll get rid of the lasers, and you'll be able to grab that laptop. Or this might be Objective C, actually. Yeah. So if you're looking right in front of you at the spawn point, you know, there's this tower with this rubble entrance. If you enter that and immediately turn around, you'll see this ladder on the wall with these lasers that are going back and forth. Just climb up the ladder, take your time to avoid the lasers, shimmy around up onto this ledge here for our dead drop in this mission.
Grimm, found a thumb drive someone left behind.
It could be used.
So moving on to the HVT in this mission, and that's going to be at Objective A. Yeah. So the first objective area I was looking at was C, that where the laptop was. Sorry about that. So the thing about this one is a little tricky. You can't really go at these guys on the ground floor because if you go at them, you'll be spotted, and you actually need to go above Objective A and above the HVT, and you'll see this little hole in the ground here. You can actually drop down and shimmy along the edge here and drop behind this wall. That'll give you some cover, because these two guys don't leave here. They sit here and they chat and they walk back and forth, and there's only a small window of opportunity that you can actually capture this guy where one of them isn't looking at you, and it's right here. So once you get this opportunity, just go ahead and grab him. I recommend just shooting this guy with whatever you want before you actually bag and tag, because by the time you bag and tag him, that guy's probably going to be turning around. So moving on to Charlie's missions, the first one is Pakistani embassy. These are kind of like horde-like things. There's no HVTs in these. There's only a dead drop and a laptop in each of the missions, and you have a little bit of time before each mission starts where you can usually just nab these. So from this one, immediately when you spawn, go up to that balcony, turn left, open the door, and there's your laptop. From the laptop, just turn around, open the window behind you, shimmy around to the left over the fence here, and drop down for the dead drop.
Friendly is down. Find who did it.
Grimm, someone was sloppy with their data.
Moving on to the next of Charlie's missions, which is the Swiss embassy. Immediately from the spawn point, just turn around and you'll see the dead drop up on this balcony.
You're about to have company.
You want it found?
Again, a point of reference from the spawn point, just run straight, and when you get here, turn right, run all the way to the end of this hallway here, and when you get here, go ahead and jump up to the next level and go through this little opening and through this door you see right in front of me. When you go through this door, you're going to notice that there is a camera here. Now I made the mistake and threw a EMP sticky at it, which also deactivates the laptop, so you're not going to be able to hack the laptop. Just pull out your silenced weapon and shoot the camera. Don't use an EMP or you'll lock the laptop out as well. I was like, why the hell can't I use this? I actually didn't realize that that would lock out the collectible laptop, which makes sense, but yeah, just keep that in mind.
Grimm, I've hacked the laptop. Got access.
Roger that.
Moving on to the next Charlie 4th Echelon mission, Egyptian Embassy. From the spawn point, we're going to go forward a little bit and to the left. You'll see this open window up here in this building. We need to go onto the right side of this building and climb up this pipe. We're going to shimmy around this path. We're going to have to get on this sign here, and you need to drop down on the sign. Took me a minute to actually figure out you had to drop down here and grab that ledge, but anyway, climb into the window here and grab this dead drop.
Someone left a dead drop out here. Unrelated.
Now for the laptop on this one, again, we'll start from the spawn point as a point of reference. You need to take out 2 electrical boxes to deactivate some lasers to get that particular laptop. And the first one is to the left. Go into this little shack-like building and shoot that electrical box, and then move up and to the right to this bus here. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because I had to take out some enemies, but just move up the right side of that bus, and when you jump over this barricade, you'll see the alley to your right, and that will be the second electrical box. Go ahead and shoot that, and now the lasers are deactivated, allowing us to get into the room with the laptop, which is back here. And once you get in here, there is also a camera, so you're going to want to shoot that. Keep in mind, if the cameras spot you while you're trying to hack the laptop will malfunction and become unhackable. So make sure you shoot that camera.
Will do, Sam.
Alright, another of Charlie's missions, the Russian Embassy. This is the last of the Horde-like missions, but anyway, you're going to come in here and you're going to see this stairwell. It's kind of in the center area. When you jump over this window and jump down, you'll be able to have access to the laptop that was previously blocked off by some lasers. And it gets kind of right in the middle. From the same stairwells, now we're just going to climb up to the rooftop. This is the same stairwell that we were just at, that we hopped into that window. You can see the lasers down there. Come to the roof and turn left and you'll see a zip line. Zip line over to this little grate here. Go inside for the dead drop.
Picked up another dead drop for you, Grimm.
Roger that. Bring it on board.
Alright, moving on to Kobin's missions, the first of which is Opium Farm. This is the first area of the mission that you're in, and the middle building has this kind of like windmill-like structure. It's the largest building in the first area, and the way that Kobin's missions work is there's 2 areas, and you have to clear all the hostiles in each area. So I'll kind of refer to first area. This is also in the first area. The high value target will always be here, so keep that in mind. So we got the dead drop and the HVT taken care of, and now we're going to move to the second area. So clear all those hostiles, and the thing about this one is it's all the way at the back of the second area. So don't take out all the enemies. Make sure you go all the way to the back of the second area, and you're going to come to this area that has some cameras in it. It's at the back of the cave. Take out those cameras and we'll be able to grab the laptop.
Grimm, got a laptop on site and hacked it for you.
The next of Kobin's missions is the fish market in Istanbul, Turkey. As you're moving up through the fish market in the first area of the mission, just kind of stick to the left. Eventually you'll come to this table here and you'll see the laptop on the other side. Now just hack that. There was an enemy that came, and if he does, just hide behind the table. He'll walk right up to it and you can knock him out. Now, moving on. When you get to the second area, you can see hostiles remaining too. The boat is at the end of the second area. There's this big boat, and on top of that boat is where the dead drop is. And you'll actually pass the high value target to get to that dead drop, but purposefully. You should leave him for last because these 2 guys in the middle and the lights around it and all the other enemies will make it hard to actually capture this guy and, do it without getting shot or getting spotted. So go ahead and grab that dead drop first and then come back and get the high value target. Now, the Blood Diamond Mine, Kobin's mission. This is a pretty cool mission. In the first area, this is going to be the very first building you walk into. You're going to walk to the other side of the big room here. This is like a big storage building almost. And in the bottom right of that room will be an office, and the laptop will be in that office.
Wow, laptops must be...
So then we're on to the second portion of this mission, and it's after you go into the mine itself. It's kind of hard to explain the directionality of this mine, but you're going to have to come here because you have to take out all the enemies, and this dead drop is right next to one of those, robot guys that, are sending out one of those robot cars that spot you. That's on one side, and on the other side of the mine is where the HVT is. So you'll have to go to those 2 areas. It's kind of difficult to explain in this one where exactly that is, but look at the surroundings I'm at and you'll obviously see. Now we're on to Briggs missions. So keep in mind, with Briggs missions, this has to be co-op. You cannot do Briggs missions solo. The first of which is Smugglers Compound. Now in Smugglers Compound, at Objective A is the high value target. You can actually see my co-op partner actually kind of messed this up and got spotted by the high value target. The good thing is in co-op, if you get one player to get the attraction of the enemy, the other player can actually still go and get a knockout from behind. So he was still able to capture that HVT, and again, that's right at Objective A. Moving on, you'll zip line down to a compound here. As soon as you zip line down, if you take the left zip line one, basically the second building in front of you, will house the laptop. You can jump up onto the window of the second floor and grab the laptop. Now, if you go up in that same level, that same building where the laptop was, go onto the top level, there is an objective up there that you will have to access. Once you do that, if you go to the left side of this roof, there's a zip line, and that zip line will actually take you right to the dead drop. You can zip line down and then just walk right into that door right there on my right for the dead drop in this mission.
Roger that. Be thorough.
Intel on a dead drop, Grim.
I'll analyze it when.
Alright, moving on to Briggs' next mission, Missile Plant. You'll get to this area here, you're going to see this sniper that's up in the window. Now, you can't be detected in this mission, so you have to do everything kind of stealth. But in this area, it's really, characteristic. You'll see that sniper up here, and you'll see this truck right underneath this canopy. There will be some enemies around here. You see me just kind of gas them all. I think that's kind of the easiest way. But nonetheless, once you get a clear opportunity to get in the truck, in the bed of the truck is the dead drop.
What have you got there, Sam?
Looks like intel from dead drop.
Alright, moving on, you're going to be going inside, and this is actually pretty later in the mission. You're going to have to secure the warhead, and before you really get this fight started, go to the left side of the room on the second level for the laptop. And then once you start this room, you're going to fight waves and waves of enemies, and eventually one of those enemies that comes will be the high value target. So just keep that in mind. He could kind of be anywhere in that room. Moving on to Voron Station, this is really the first open area you're going to come to, and one of the enemies in this area will be a high value target. He will be a shielded enemy, so you do need to come from behind in order to take him and bag and tag him. He will always be in this portion of the level. Moving on, shortly after a cutscene in Voron Station, basically right after that, immediately turn left, climb up this pipe, go to the right, go over this ledge here for our dead drop on this balcony.
Side door's locked down.
If we want in, we're gonna have to get creative.
Alright, moving on, you're going to eventually breach a door together, and it's going to bring you to this point. It's a little bit further in the mission, so just keep an eye on that breach point. And once you do that, go downstairs, take this vent to the left here, and going through this vent, okay, the laptop's actually right here on the left, and there's often an enemy here, so be ready to take him out and grab that laptop.
I've got a hacked laptop here for Charlie to go through, Grim.
Alright, on to the final mission in the game, Abandoned City, Briggs mission. Move on a little bit to where you get to this dual breach a little bit later in the mission into the staircase. As soon as you get into this room, immediately look right, and you're going to see a pipe that you can climb to get to the broken level 2 where our final dead drop is.
It's too complicated. You can stay here.
No, it's good.
Grim, I found a dead drop on site. Take a look at the intel when I get it on board.
Will do.
Moving on, you're going to come to this kind of generator here, and this is where the HVT is. He's always going to be in here. You saw my co-op partner just capture him. Now keep in mind, with the HVTs, you need to get to the next checkpoint before it registers. So you will get the achievement, you just need to get to the next checkpoint. And the last laptop in the game, you can't miss it. It's at the end of the mission. You have to come here. You're going to come to this point. It's going to be sitting right here on the desk for you. Capture that laptop for our final collectible, data security achievement. I hope you guys found this guide helpful. I know the game's a little older, but when I was playing it, I felt like a lot of the guides out there weren't that great. The lighting was really dark in everybody's videos, and they didn't really explain things. It's just, I wasn't sure how far into the mission they were, things like that. So I just decided to make one. I hope you guys found it helpful. If you like my stuff, feel free to like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.